Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending today's session. Today, I'm going to talk to you about application modernization. Basically, it's an investment fund for departments to address critical and at-risk technologies. My name is Dominique Jean-Noël, and I'm the Director for the Workload Migration and Application Modernization Initiative. Budget 2018 committed large investment to address at-risk technologies. On one hand, TBS has an investment fund of 110 million to help partner departments modernize their application and migrate their application portfolio from legacy data centers into more secure target hosting, such as brand new data centers or cloud solutions. SSC, on the other hand, is investing as well into more reliable infrastructure. But their focus is to close old data centers, to fill in new data centers, to establish cloud architecture, and to implement secure connectivity from ground to commercial cloud providers. SSC and TBS are working together to ensure that the investments are going towards digital transformational activities, but as well help identify the at-risk applications and infrastructure. This next slide simply shows the four pillars or the four major components of the workload migration and cloud enablement program. Most of the pillars are managed by SSC with the help of CSC for the establishment of the secure cloud enablement and defense. Where you see the arrow is actually our domain or my team domain. It's the application modernization piece where, as I said earlier, we have 110 million of funds to help departments' activities in support of the workload migration, and if there is any opportunity for departments to modernize their application. There are four major goals for the workload migration and cloud enablement program. First of all, it's the modernization. The Government of Canada wants to make sure that we reduce the risk related to the performance and to the security that is associated with legacy infrastructure and old and aged applications. So by doing so, if we upgrade our application technologies and we migrate from legacy data centers to modern hosting platforms, we are decreasing the risk associated with the security and with the performance of our application. The second big goal that we had was to establish a framework and a process upon which we would base our decision. These decisions must ensure that we invest into applications that are the least healthy and that are the most critical and that deliver on our business priorities, but as well that we invest in at-risk platforms. The third major goal of the program is to ensure that we reduce our data center footprint. If we are reducing from a high number of at-risk legacy data center facilities to more modern data centers, we would decrease the risk of outages, potentially outages that we could experience in the future. And then finally, the fourth goal and the last goal is to provide an opportunity for departments to modernize their projects and their applications or their systems and to align their investments and their decision to the Government of Canada policies and directions, such as Cloud First or any other standards that have been put forward this year. There are several benefits that the program anticipates to achieve or has desired outcomes. One of them is to ensure that while we go through this exercise, that the GC obtains a full inventory of their applications and their associated health. And this would be done by each department doing an application portfolio management and assessment. As well, another benefit would be to modernize as many applications as possible and to move them to the cloud. And this would enable the Government of Canada to reduce their IT footprints and their overall cost. By doing so and by migrating to more modern and secure target hosting, it would inherently improve the security, increase the reliability, and the availability of these applications. By adopting the cloud, it would provide the opportunity for departments and for IT professionals the ability to gain new skill sets in a new IT environment. And it would open up as well new opportunities for these IT professionals. Overall, by using updated and more up-to-date technologies, it would potentially and hopefully reduce the maintenance costs, the maintenance and support costs by using modern technologies and using more automation. When a partner department embarks on the application modernization journey, basically they have to go through 4 major steps. First, they need to be prioritized by SSC and TBS. Then, both TBS and SSC engage with the departments. Once they are prioritized, they receive funding to start or initiate their discovery phase. This is where the departments will take a look at their application portfolio and decide on a strategy on how to address each one of the applications. Once their plans are being approved by GCARB, they then initiate the implementation of their migration and modernization strategy. And the final step of the execution is really the decommission of at-risk technologies, either by SSC by closing the data center or by the departments by decommission some of their old technologies and migrating to either EDC or, to an enterprise data center or to cloud solutions. Departments and agencies embarking on the WLM and application modernization journey must get their project approved by the Government of Canada's CIO. In order to receive this approval, departments must receive endorsement from 4 governance bodies. The first one is the WLM Working Group. It's a smaller working group that is co-chaired by SSC and TBS, and it includes several departments that are already participating in the WLM and application modernization initiative. Then departments and agencies need to present their projects at the GC Enterprise Architecture Review Board and identify how the migration and modernization activities will meet the target architecture. And the final 2 governance bodies are a presentation or a consent item sent to the Assistant Deputy Minister and the Deputy Minister Committee on Enterprise Priorities and Planning. The prioritization of a department is done jointly with the SSC WLM program and the Application Modernization Initiative at TBS. And prioritization is done with 2 dimensions in mind, or 2 criteria in mind, is the at-risk application portfolio and the at-risk IT infrastructure. When we think of the application at risk, we look at does the department have critical workload that is supporting their business and that is at the highest technical risk? And is the department ready or very close to being ready to migrate, or specifically is ready to adopt cloud technologies? And then we look at applications that have the highest business value and, like I said before, highest degree of technical risk. On the infrastructure side, the data centers would be prioritized if there is an upcoming lease expiry, if the infrastructure is failing, and if there are some pressures within the facilities in terms of space, in terms of cooling, um, overall power, or overall conditions of that data center. When a department has been prioritized, they can then start their discovery phase. This phase is really a t-shirt sizing estimation and also a planning of the modernization and migration activities. Some of the artifacts that we are expecting departments to produce in order to move to the next phase are, first of all, they need to determine their modernization strategy and their cloud strategy. By doing so, they will be doing a thorough analysis of their application portfolio management system. So they will do a complete inventory of applications, and with the help of SSC, will do an inventory of their infrastructure as well. They will need to document where each application currently resides, what is the future migration and modernization strategy, and what is the final target hosting um, resting place, either in the cloud or in an enterprise data center. And then departments are expected to estimate the cost that it will take to do all this modernization and this migration, and to as well decommission their at-risk technologies. And finally, in any IT projects, we do expect departments to prepare their project management artifacts. When a department is preparing their migration and modernization strategy, they need to take into consideration a few items. The Government of Canada has issued a cloud-first policy requirement, and we understand, though, that not every department has the same level of readiness. Each application has a time assessment that will indicate what is the best strategy for that application. As well, we would expect departments to prioritize their investment on the mission and business critical applications, or the applications that have the highest business value and the highest technical risks. It is also some of the strategies that departments will use or will choose depends on the risk of certain risk. For example, the facilities may have a risk of closing very shortly, and one of the strategies might be a two-step strategy. First, to lift and shift into an enterprise data center, and when some of the technical condition has been addressed, then the department can take the second step to break down a very complex legacy application into smaller chunk microservices and develop cloud native applications and migrate them into the cloud. And then in that instance, they will be able to address the facilities risk first, and then address the hardware, software, and operating systems risks later. When the department has finished their planning exercise, they can then get their approval to start their execution. Basically, it's the implementation of their migration and modernization strategy. This is where they will staff their project team, start configuring their cloud platform, and they will start implementing their strategies. They will as well report quarterly to the TBS oversight team, basically my team, where they will report on milestones, their issues, any risk that they foresee, and their financial burn rate. And then finally, at the end of their execution, they will close out with the final decommission of their at-risk technologies in their legacy data center, and SSC, on the other hand, will decommission and close their data center as well. The program is currently at its third year, and we have already committed 50% of the yearly allocation profile that is within TBS's authority. Right now, we've got more funding requests or more demands than we can allocate or can help departments. Thus, the importance of our decision framework that we have put in place to ensure that we address the most at-risk technologies. Finally, to conclude this presentation, I would like to present some of the results and achievements to date. To this day, we have accessed 22% of the application modernization funds, and in this fall, we will have access to 66 million to help more departments. To this date, approximately more than 20 departments are participants into the programs, and Treasury Board is the first department to have completed their migration to the cloud as of February of this year. And StatsCan, who is one of the pathfinder or the first early adopter of the program, will modernize their more than 600 plus applications by the end of fiscal year 2022, as per their modernization and migration strategy. And finally, we noticed that people are embracing change, they're upscaling, they're training to adopt cloud. The TBS and several departments have also prepared some learning accelerators, some templates, some playbooks to help the departments accelerate their cloud adoption. As well, the Canadian School of Public Service Digital Academy often offers cloud related or new technology related training, and TBS has also drafted a Government of Canada digital target architecture that could be used in the future for application architectures. I would like to thank you for participating to this session, and if you have any questions about application modernization, please don't hesitate to contact me at TBS. Thank you. Have a great day.